Good morning, YouTubers. Today I'm going to talk about Tartaria. So Tartaria was this ancient empire that existed around the 15th century, 16th century, all the way till maybe the 19th century to the 1800s, late 1800s. So from early 1400s to the late 1800s. So as you can see, you have the Strait of Tartary, near the Sea of Okhotsk. They have Chinese Tartary, which refer to people living in Manchuria, and that also included the Nev peoples, Tungusic peoples, Dawars, which are the descendants of Khitan or Khitan Empire, spelled Khitan, and you have Mongols, Uyghurs, Tibet, and they are under indirect rule. And today they're known as the autonomous regions of China, mainly Tibet Autonomous Region, Uyghur Autonomous Region, Ningxia Autonomous Region, Inner Mongolia Autonomous Region, whilst the rest of China is pretty much in direct rule, for example. And this is true for, most of the areas except for maybe like Guizhou, which is like autonomous, and Guangxi, which is autonomous. Was 90% of China proper is not autonomous even in the modern day. And so you have Oriental Tartary, which is basically Tartary in Asia. So anything you can say either east of the Ob River or east of the Ural Mountains, and this is all called Siberia. You got Sibir, which is the Khanate of Sibir, and the word Siberia came from the word Xianbei, which is spelled Xianbei. You got Tumen. That's how you pronounce it in Russian, but in Tatar or Mongol or Uyghur, it's pronounced Tumen, Tiumen. And this is Independent Tartary. You got Karakalpaks, which is the Khanate of Khiva, also called Khwarezmia before the conquest of Genghis Khan. In the 11th century, 10th century, it was called Khwarezmia. You got Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, Nogaya, which is West Kazakhstan. Karakalpak is basically an autonomous region of Uzbekistan. In modern day, it's actually West Uzbekistan, but it's called Karakalpak Autonomous Region. You got Kyrgyzstan, and the modern day Kyrgyzstan, but originally they were called the Yenisei Kyrgyz, that lives in modern day Khakassia, the Republic of Khakassia. And then you have Kazan, Kasan, or its modern day rename as Kazan, Kazan, which is again Tartary, the capital of the Golden Horde, and this is all part of the Greater Tartary. So Kazan was Greater Tartary, and also known as Grande Tartary, and you have Lesser Tartary, which is Crimea, the Khanate of Crimea. They have the triple bird coat of arms, whilst Grande Tartary or Greater Tartary has a big dragon, a black dragon, embedded in a yellow flag, or a black owl embedded in a yellow flag, whilst Lesser Tartary, Crimea, has 3 black birds embedded in a yellow flag. And this can also be seen on the portrait of Marco Polo when he visited China, which was the Yuan dynasty. And again, Lesser Tartary is called Petite Tartary. And then you have Central Tartary, which is Central Asia, so the modern day Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan, and Turkmenistan. But Tajikistan is not really part of Tartary. Well, it's not in a ethnic sense, because Tartary is more Mongolian and Turkic, whilst Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, and Turkmenistan, they have similar languages. For example, the word north or black means Kara, which is spelled Kara, or Qara. depending on what dialect you speak. For example, Kazakh and Uzbek, it's going to be different dialects, similar to US, like American English and British Anglo English, or Brazilian Portuguese versus European, Iberian Portuguese, if you like. And Central Tartary is also called Independent Tartary. And so the Tartarian Empire was pretty much spanning from this like green border all the way to China towards the Sea of Okhotsk, nearing Alaska. But these areas, again, it's not really known because it's sparsely populated. There's not many people live there even during the modern day. You also have Nogai, Astrakhan, which were part of Tatar as well, but it wasn't really part of independent. Nogai was part of Independent Tartary, while Astrakhan was part of Greater Tartary, on Crimea's Lesser Tartary. So after Kazan was conquered and Kazan was like Golden Horde is declining, it so-called split into different khanates like Sibir, Kazan, Nogai, Astrakhan, Crimea, and they moved capitals to different places. So that's why you have New Sarai and Old Sarai, right? Just like in the Bible, you have New Jerusalem, or you have New Delhi, Old Delhi, and you have places like York, which is in Britain, and Yorkshire, and you also have New York, which is in America. It's just naming something new. They call it a new city, right? Or like Sydney, and you have New Sydney or Greater Sydney, which is Parramatta. So they're just shifting the focus whenever there is like an economic decline of the city, or another city becomes popular, or another city has a better economic boom or economic opportunities. You have a paradigm shift, and they change capitals. It's like Kazakhstan, they changed their capital, right? Like recently to I think Astana. Yeah, Astana. It was like Astana or something, like Kazakhstan changes capitals.